everybody, it's Dr. Wilson with the Wilson Clinic, and I wanted to address some frequently asked questions regarding stretches. It's good for the bulk of the population, for a lot of the patients that we get to take care of, and then a lot of people out there in the world. A lot of jobs are seated nowadays, and so what we're seeing a lot of is people coming to us that have to sit for the bulk of their day. And so if you're in that seated position a lot, knees are going to be bent up, you're going to start to shorten in the hamstrings pretty commonly, also the hip flexors. Glutes take a brunt of the beating, so it's going to be a really wise thing for you to pay attention if you're in this boat where you do have to sit for a majority of your day or even a large portion of your day. Take time, stretch out the hamstrings, stretch out the hip flexors, stretch out the glutes. It's going to be a wise thing to be able to help you stay on top of those muscle groups, keep that flexibility to the point where you have function, right? If they start to shorten in length, it starts to cause a lot of dysfunction of the hips, which leads to a lot of dysfunction in the lower back. So we're constantly trying to help people get the most out of their bodies as they go through life. If we decrease that function in that range of motion, we start being that short walker, we start being more hunched over in the posture, it's going to lead to statistically early death, which is not great, but also a lot of more pain and dysfunction and difficulty doing life tasks in the years that we've got. So when it comes to hamstrings, that's the back of the thigh, you can stretch by leaning over, but if you're already dealing with spinal issues, you're going to be more advantageous to throw the leg up on something like some stairs or a chair or a stool or something. Get the foot elevated and then stand tall with the back and just lean the torso forward. You're going to get a great stretch into the hamstring. For the glutes, which are your hip muscles, right, the butt cheek, the best way I found is to be seated. A lot of people, they see all these videos online or they see some kind of a resource where they have them lying down in some funky position. You can get a glute stretch or even piriformis lying down, but a lot of people that are dealing with muscle issue and piriformis syndromes, it's not easy getting up and down off the floor. So you can just simply sit in that chair that's been tearing you apart, but cross the leg, grab your knee, pull it up to the body and then across the body. So it's kind of like this knee would be heading towards my opposite shoulder. And that's going to provide a really good stretch to the gluteus maximus. Just sink into that, let that stretch, go nice and slow. Every one of these stretches ought to be held for at least 30 seconds. Closer to a minute is going to be even better for actually gaining flexibility over time. So you always want to do both sides. For the hip flexors, you can do it standing, right? And lean into it like this. Let that leg pull back, torso nice and tall, and you'll get a stretch. If that's difficult for you to feel, just for whatever reason, you can also do it getting down on the ground. Have that knee planted, foot extended, and then lean into it this way, keeping the body and pelvis turned very much in line with yourself, and then lean forward. And that's going to be very effective for some people to be able to draw that leg back to get an angle on that hip flexor so that you can get a really good quality stretch to it. And just, again, be patient, let your body sink into that, and stretch that out. But if you would do that, stretch those hip flexors, hamstrings, and those glutes, it assists you in staying ahead of your body. If you're one of those people that gets stuck in a chair all day long at work or at home, and you know that you're sitting way more than your body really should be. So please use those tools as some food for thought, but it's certainly a way that you can take action to take care of your body better. If you have any questions regarding any of that, that is why we're here. So you can look us up at wilsonclinic.com or just call the office directly.